Hey, soul survivors, we're just going to talk about narcissism and relationships and why so many go bad, why there's such a high divorce rate, especially with second and third marriages, why we don't learn from certain things, and the company that we keep. Also, little traumas that we've gone through. It doesn't have to be expansive trauma to create C-PTSD. It can be little traumas over time. And when we hang around certain people, it can change us. We're kind of like a byproduct of the five people that are closest to us. So if you're in a toxic work environment, you might want to change that. Your mental health is important. And there's one thing that my mom had said years ago. I was probably anywhere from 12 to 16 years old, where she told me the story about this one lady who was kind of anxious about getting engaged. And it was around Christmas time. She had a fireplace going, and her boyfriend gave her a dozen roses, and she was ticked off. She expected a proposal. So she takes that bunch of roses and throws them in the fire, and it burns up. Well, diamonds are carbon based, so they will burn. And he had an engagement ring in there for her. And that was the end of the relationship. She got too anxious, got too angry, and didn't have the patience. So that affects certain things that I have done in relationships where I'm like, do I need to be more patient? Am I being too anxious? And sometimes we give people too much time and too much of the benefit of the doubt, but there's a balance. And through communication, we can understand each other. And when you're with a narcissist, because of the lies and because of the deceitful behavior, we start to feel that something is off. And, men and women traditionally are raised differently. Now it's starting to change over time, and it'll be interesting to see the outcome of it, because men do have a natural instinct to be hunters, and women have instinctually a nurturing type of personality. And the connection between a man and woman is hard sometimes because of the fact that, toughen up. They can't relate because a lot of times until we're emotionally intelligent, we see how somebody's going to react based on how we would react, treat others how you would want to be treated. But sometimes people see things differently and it gets tricky. But if you hang around certain people, I had hung around with a neighbor, and she was talking da da da, and she doesn't want to get remarried. She went through a bad divorce, and so she had said, just feel free. There's nothing wrong with just being casual. And we have to be careful on those kind of things. Whatever you guys believe is fine, but as far as my beliefs, I don't want to do that. I want to be that high value woman where somebody invests in me before I give myself to them. And those little things in your mind, whether let's say you were drinking that night or feeling lonely that night, that might pop into your mind, and you might be like, you know what, it is okay, why not, just a little fun. But we have to remember that uh the psychology behind everything is fascinating. There is craziness to how all these things play into what a relationship is. When we give ourselves too freely without investing, it's not seen as valuable. They have studies where the longer you wait before becoming physically active with somebody, the stronger the relationship is. And there's certain things to that, because let's face it, sex can be addicting, and you start focusing on that instead of the relationship, or you feel that is the glue that keeps you together, or that is the necessity of the relationship, as opposed to the relationship leading to the physical stuff. But the more you're around toxic people, or people who have let's say divorced, they have studies that if your friends are divorcing, that you could possibly be more likely to divorce. And it might give you like a comfort or a different perspective on it. Like it's going to be okay. That the people that we pick to be around will affect us, just like those little things, like, just the little things that people say. Are these people in alignment with your beliefs? Because sometimes in weakened states, it can infiltrate our mind and change our actions based on that. So being strong within yourself is fantastic. Just like if you know you're not going to smoke. Sometimes people get weak and they might start doing that, or they might drink too much, feeling peer pressure, things like that. If you have certain struggles that you realize, if you're an alcoholic, that you stay away from people who are going to encourage drinking. You have to know your limitations. And I just find the psychology of everything extremely interesting, how a lot of times we want what we can't have instead of appreciating what we do have. And a lot of our trauma I saw this one video today about like the anxious attachment style, and it was saying that, ask, like, are we okay? This upset me that you didn't text me back, and this and that. And the thing is in a relationship, we should have some grace. Like, look, that really kind of bothered me. I'm used to you, texting me right back, and it's been 2 days, to where we communicate. But when it gets to be too much, we're starting to drain the other person and causing them to feel like they're not good enough, that they're always messing up, things like that. But with a narcissist is, you start to feel that something's not right. And I watched another video. I watched lots of videos, but there was one about the guy cheating and getting angry at the wife and causing her to feel the blame that the relationship isn't going right. And the reactions to certain things are the red flags that we start to feel. We're like, what am I doing wrong? I'm basically being the best wife. And it can be male, female, but to where things start feeling off. And, there's that balance between when do I communicate and when do I kind of have the patience to realize, sometimes we have the worst case scenario in our minds, and it's not always true. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, they don't comfort your questions. They make it worse. And then they feel, like, okay, maybe I was a little rough on her. So they can do that love bombing again. And it's that vicious cycle that will cause trauma, C-PTSD. It is a space of feeling unsafe. And you should feel safe within your relationship, because as a narcissist, they have, and we have too, we've connected at like the top level where everything is so exciting, so amazing, great conversation, doing a lot of things. And the only way to go is down. It's really hard to maintain this, and the narcissist won't put the effort in. We're trying to bring it back up, but because of their trauma, because of the things that they've been through, and sometimes it's not even necessarily a trauma that they've gone through. Sometimes they have just been, they've had their ego inflated so much. So it's not always necessarily trauma. It can be that they've been told how wonderful they are, that they deserve everything, so they become entitled, that it is a one-way street in those kind of relationships. And it's where they start taking us for granted, and we start building up a little resentment. We want something back in return too. And that's the normal balance. Otherwise, if you give and give and give, you're going to start to feel depleted and hurt. We have a certain type of attachment style, and it seems in the beginning that we hit the jackpot. We are with the perfect person. But over time, they start seeing little flaws, and there's nothing wrong with having certain little flaws. We're all human, so don't kick yourself up about that. You know, when you truly love someone, whatever their flaws are, it's okay. But when you don't love the person, those flaws start to irritate you. And, you know, it's really sad that we would give so much. We would stick by our person if they were sick, in sickness and in health. There's a reason that's in the marriage vows. But, you know, it's just words to a narcissist. Like, I gotta say it. Like, I can't put the mask down. Like, if it doesn't work out or if it gets too overwhelming, I'm out. So when we give our vows, a lot of times we mean it. And that should be the security in it, or the commitment to building a relationship. But the narcissist, they, sorry guys, they will do that future faking, and it starts to feel off. And, you know, we start investing more. And the more we invest, the more we're taken for granted. So keep a balance of where you are not chasing somebody. You are not giving so much without them giving it. That if you back off, are they going to come to you? Because if it's meant to be, they will come to you. And there are times it's okay to reach out every now and then. But I know it's hard when you're in a marriage or a partnership that you might be living with the person, and day to day, you don't know what to expect. You know, to say good morning to someone and be dismissed. It's like, it's not hard to just say good morning to me. That the narcissist will be so dismissive, give those micro silent treatments, and each and every one of those will change you and how you react to them, how you might react to your friends and your family. Now you're hurt, depressed, don't want to do things. So now you're starting to cancel things. People might start to think you're narcissistic because you're not showing up like you should. And it's just a vicious cycle. So if somebody loves you and you had a conversation, there should be some compromise. And the narcissist will mislead you into agreeing to certain things to change, to make it work between two different people. We all have different perspectives. And so you think things are okay. And it's this vicious cycle that just continually happens to the point of either the narcissist gets sick of trying to work on things, or they do it when it's too late. I had my neighbor's friend was over. We were all kind of hanging out and stuff. And he was in a 10-year relationship, and she's leaving him now. And he recognizes his faults. He recognizes he can't be alone. And he's like, yeah, you know, we haven't had sex. It's because I'm mean to her. And, you know, the last 3 years, he's been really mean to her. And except the last year, he's been trying to work on things. But, you know, he's pleasurable to hang out with. Great conversation. But people sometimes can realize that they're doing things wrong. And he could have saved his relationship. If he's mad at her for not having sex and she says it's because you're mean to me, he could have changed it. Things would have worked out. If he took the time to hear what she was saying, you know, if he valued the relationship. But people get so stuck on what they feel, what their traumas are, that they get wrapped up in their emotions, and it skews how things are. A narcissist doesn't feel comfortable with comfort. They don't feel comfortable with comfort or reciprocation. So the people you hang out with, the little things that they'll say to you can either sometimes cause you, let's say, to get a job. Do they encourage you? Do they knock you down? Do they tell you There's no way you're going to get that. So now it's eating at your self-esteem and you cancel the interview. Be around people who are going to help you. But I had brought up that one video about how with the cheating, and when somebody cheats on you, some people work through it, but a lot of times, because he had said, the neighbor's friend, that, you know, maybe if it's meant to be, she'll come back and it'll work out. But he had continued saying that it's just going to eat at me. Like, was I not man enough? So, you know, sometimes when we look at things, he's already giving himself the answer. Like, it's going to eat me alive. I'm not going to be cool with it. But a part of him still hopes that she'll come back. So if she does come back, he's still going to have those feelings. That's who he is. And that's going to be real hard to work through. And it's going to cause resentment and anger. And probably if she came back, especially since he has anger issues, it would dissolve again. And we have to realize who we are, what we can change, what we should change, and staying true to ourselves and surrounding ourselves with the right people. If people are knocking you down and not building you up, those aren't your people. If somebody's jealous of you and is trying to destroy what you've built, those aren't your people. And sometimes, you know, we overlook certain things because we like certain things about people. But when they start tearing us down, we have to look at, why did I accept that? Why did I not say anything? Why am I chasing instead of balancing? So I just wanted to share that you are worthy. And that one little thing that my mom said about the roses, everything that we get from people can sometimes affect how we think, how we talk, how we interact. So be around the right people. I'll see you in the next video.